Hello, brothers and sisters of podcast land. Welcome to the most righteous, most lovely, and most exciting podcast today, The Real Short Box. And now let me quickly introduce to you the cast members of The Real Short Box. First, let's start with the newly minted father of the year 2022. He is the Viceroy of Youngstown, Ohio. He is the pontificator of the facts. Ladies and gentlemen, he is the debonair of modern day masculinity. He is Mr. Darren.
I must say, once again, if you're going to call me a viceroy, I have to bring up that we still need to do a podcast about the complexities of Star Wars prequel politics.
Yes, sir. We must talk about the Trade Federation and all those interesting politics that take place in the galactic
Interesting.
Republic.
I just want to know what's actually happening.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. You know, there is like a what do you call it? A politics line. They talk about 2020 type of thing that goes on. You know what I'm saying? Next, he is the president and chairman of the Real Short Box and Rumble Spoon Productions. He was the 2000 Kent State University's Mr. Beefcake. He is DC Comics for Life. He is Bruce Campbell's #2 fan. Ladies and gentlemen, give it up for the original Don.
Thank you. I would just like to thank first and foremost my parents. I would also like to thank everybody else's parents too, because they played an instrumental part in my development as a child and as a young adult and growing into the adult I am now, and further developing this greatness that you see before you. So I just wanted to thank you for believing in me and being a part of this.
Well, we thank you, sir, for just existing. Next, he is the man who is the High Sparrow of Texas. He's originally from the great state of Michigan. He is a master teacher of thespians everywhere there in Texas. He's going to make sure they get a job in Hollywood or on Broadway. Ladies and gentlemen, he is lovable and huggable Professor Chris D. Turn.
I don't know about huggable. I feel like I'm a cactus, and so like if you hug me, you're gonna get stung by the cacti pricks or something like that lately. I don't know. So, but I'll take the lovable part.
Are you saying you have like a super hairy, coarse back or something, sir? If people hug you?
Sure, we'll go with that.
Okay, fair enough. Last, but certainly not least, he is the man of the people. He is the arch nemesis of Dr. Bigot. He is the man who grew up in the shadow of Skywalker Ranch. He was the 2021 Best Daddy of the Year of Central California. Ladies and gentlemen, please give it up for the president and CEO of the Black Adam and Luke Cage fan clubs. Here he is. He is Sweet White Chocolate Jared.
Wow.
And
That's quite the introduction.
I am your humble podcaster, the Grand Master of the Jedi and Vulcan Arts, your Supreme Chancellor, Dr. Kevin.
Thanks, Kevin.
No fanfare at all. Just a wah.
Well, first of all, Jarrett's muted, so it's hard for us to hear, but he was elated at Kevin's introduction. So there's that. Secondly, I just want to mention to Chris really quickly, everybody can see us. We are live to the general public on YouTube also.
Oh, that's great.
Okay, just making sure, because it's a little slow right now on the viewership and involvement. So I just want to make sure when I check. Enrique popped in. Enrique says, "Hey guys, sorry I missed last week." It's okay, Enrique. It was only our greatest week ever, but that's fine. You know.
We love you, Enrique. We appreciate you.
Yes, we do appreciate you very much, buddy. So glad you can make tonight. This is gonna be a fun one, guys. Oh man, I know Darren's excited. He's placed himself right next to Michael Keaton, right next to him.
Guys, actually, I looked up before. Everybody's been pronouncing his name wrong. It's Michael Keaton. So.
You know, I just want it to be said that I was in the Q&A of the first screening of award season for Birdman with Mr. Keaton doing the thing. So yes, Michael, have I been next to Michael Keaton? No, but he has been across the hallway from me.
Hey, I know somebody that's been next to Michael Keaton.
Yeah, I was.
Can't hear you, Chris.
I muted myself and then talked. I was about this far. I smelled the whiskey on his breath.
Beautiful.
That's good. That's good. That's true Irishman. That's how they start their morning. A little whiskey, a little shot, a little hair of the dog that bit you, so to speak. A little Monday morning conference, coffee and contemplation, whatever you want to call it. It's fun.
And one thing I think you'd appreciate about Mr. Michael Keaton, Donald, since you're a big Pittsburgh man and Pittsburgh Steeler fan, he grew up not too far outside Pittsburgh.
That's right. Pittsburgh homegrown. Very exciting. Very exciting. Some of the best people come from the city of Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh, I love you. I think you're a great city. I don't care what other people say. There we go.
And by the way, Darren, do you know what Michael Keaton's real name is, actually?
I really don't, but I know I've heard it before. I just cannot think of it right now.
Are you ready for this? It's actually Michael Douglas.
Michael Douglas. Well, you don't want to be an actor named Michael Douglas. I mean,
you guys got whoa! You got to be careful, because if you say that name 3 times, Michael Keaton actually explodes and that guy comes out of his mouth. It's disgusting.
No.
You don't do that.
Yeah, the thing is, you can have enough. You can have more Michael Keatons, because as Michael Keaton said,
yeah,
Creed is good.
But the question is like, what Michael Douglas do you get? Do you get like Gordon Gekko or like that dude from Falling Down? I mean, these are the questions that I would probably be asking right about now. But hey,
it's a good point. I see we already have a character up on the screen, so we're ready to rock and roll. It looks like, according to Chris. So let's get moving on this if we can, guys. Everybody ready?
Yeah, let's do it. So we are ranking the best, the 20 best. We did 20 Michael Keaton films. Number 20 coming in hot. Toy Story 3. Probably, I think unarguably the best movie in the franchise. One of the best Pixar films, period. One of the greatest films. Toy Story 3 is a great film. Directed by Lee Unkrich, came out in 2010. I think I saw it in the theater 2 or 3 times. I was just in love with this film. Now, Michael Keaton, I don't know if you guys remember, but he kind of disappeared for a while. He was kind of MIA. Like, he was doing stuff, but way behind the scenes. Like, I hadn't seen him for a while. He did a voice, which is not on our list, but he did a voice for the movie Cars. Great job. He did Chick Hicks. Awesome job. Awesome character. But in Toy Story 3, I didn't even know it until after I saw the credits. He was Ken of Ken and Barbie. And what a runaway character in that film. He was kind of a reluctant villain because he was working for Lotso Huggin' Bear, voiced by the great and late Ned Beatty. And he was obviously starstruck when he saw Barbie come to visit them in the preschool, and was so happy. And there's a great scene where he's showing her all his fashion, because he finally has somebody that appreciates it. He does, spoilers if you haven't seen the movie yet, he does come to the good side. He does realize his wrongs and also does not want to leave Barbie's side. So yeah, number 20. We even were saying could have been maybe even higher on the list, because his representation of Ken is phenomenal in this, and he's obviously having so much fun.
Christine says Ken from Toy Story. Absolutely. Great character, by the way. And you're right. Michael Keaton was in such classics as Jack Frost around certain times when, work was a little hard to acquire, I guess. Or maybe he just wanted to do some kids' fun films. I don't know. But Toy Story 3 is definitely one of the higher ups in the echelon of animated films when it comes to story. Toy Story 3 is unarguably the best of the Toy Story franchise. They broke the mold with that one. Should they have done a 4? Absolutely not. Did they do a 4? Of course. Yeah, money.
Well, correct me if I'm wrong. On our Pixar, our best of Pixar top rankings, was it a number 1?
I think it may have been.
believe, yes, sir. Yeah.
Yeah, but of course, as the contrarian in the group, I think that I had selected Up as number one, but you know,
Which is not bad.
I believe it was called Up Your Butt because
Oh, that's cold-blooded.
Hey, I got one thing to say to you: up your butt, Joe Boo.
Up your butt to the left.
All right, so
yeah, I think that pretty much covers Toy Story.
all right, hold on. Before we move on, we're going to start a new game today. Just make it interesting. And as people are presenting their movies in rankings, I want us to try to maybe see if we can guess what these movies were ranked in Rotten Tomatoes. So, Jared, do you have a guess on what Toy Story 3 was ranked on Rotten Tomatoes?
Critics or audience score?
Critic score.
That's a good
I'm
question.
Say it did phenomenally well. Do they do it by just any percentage? Like, do they go 1s, 2s, 3s, 4, 5? I mean,
They go from like 0% to 100%.
Yeah.
Like you talk about the full.
So then I'm gonna go 92%.
Anybody else would like to take a guess?
I'm gonna say 100%.
I'm gonna say 99.
I'm going to say 93%.
All right.
Oh, you did the.
Drum roll. The answer is 98%.
So I was the closest.
Damn.
I was 99.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you said
Nah,
96.
but you two were over.
Yeah, that's true.
I'm sorry.
It's true.
So that
we're going The Price is Right.
Win.
It is.
Are you going The Price is Right?
It is his highest. It is his highest ranked movie on Rotten Tomatoes.
Yeah, and
okay,
we know the only one capable of 100 is Paddington 2.
Correct. Yes.
He's not wrong. He's not wrong.
Nope. Not a joke, and it is a wonderful film. I'll say it again. Watch it.
All right.
Paddington
All right.
2, Electric Book.
Yeah.
We can move on now.
All right.
All right, we can move on. Well, the next one on our list, I believe, is one that I wanted to talk about, sort of. Michael Keaton plays in a film called The Other Guys. This came out, I don't know, like 10 years ago or something. Not terribly long ago. And he played a captain of the police force, Captain Gene, who had to work with Will Ferrell and Mark Wahlberg. So you can only guess the amount of stress that man went through, both on and off screen. Directed. I kind of ignored it when it first came out and then rewatched it a couple of years ago, probably like at the onset of the pandemic. And I must say it was a delight. Wow. Very fun film. And Michael Keaton was hilarious in a rare comedic form, where he's truly playing for laughs. He plays this captain that also works at Bed Bath & Beyond and keeps quoting TLC song titles and not living up to the fact that he loves TLC. He would just, I don't know what you guys are talking about. I don't know what a TLC is. So he does a phenomenal job. The movie is quite excellent. It stars The Rock and Samuel L. Jackson. And of course, Will Ferrell, Mark Wahlberg, Michael Keaton himself. Michael Keaton, the reason why I think this would have been higher up on the list, but he plays a character actor. And I feel like we need to make more room on this list for a full film that stars Michael Keaton, because Michael Keaton is a star power name. He can lead a film, and it has easily proven so. But in this, he plays a smaller part, and he does chew up the scenery. That's why it made the list. It's a fantastically fun film. I highly recommend it. So when you get a chance, go watch The Other Guys. I believe it's on Netflix.
I definitely enjoyed the scene with The Rock and Samuel Jackson. Something that happens on the top of the building. That thing is so freaking hilarious. I was cracking up. I was like, what?
The surprise of the film.
I was surprised.
And Geo's popped in. He says, "Hey, everyone." And Sherlock Holmes, Aiden, are you not in Thailand by now? What is going on?
He's traveling?
Yeah, he's supposed to be in Thailand. Yeah, he was going to be there for like 7 weeks. Now I think it's down to 5. So we'll see what's going on. Aiden, let me know what's going on. Anyway, again, let's I guess move on.
No, hold on. Let's do our guess. What do we think it was on Rotten Tomatoes?
I'm gonna say, because the critics are a little weird, I'm gonna say 59%.
Ooh, going rough.
I'm going with 61.
79 here.
82.
All right. Donald's very, very close. It's a 78.
Oh wow. Okay.
So
I thought the critics would have been cruel.
So it's an average score. It's pretty decent.
Yeah. I chose 79 because that's what I was born.
That's true.
All right, we can move on.
That's when you were born too.
We can move on, Donald. I believe that this next one is yours as well.
Okay. Yeah, we'll go on. Let's move on to a film. This one's actually okay. So, I highly recommend you watch the trailer for this one. This one came out in 1982, starring Henry Winkler, and of course none other than Michael Keaton. It's called Night Shift.
Weird.
It's directed by Ron Howard, by the way, and we'll see him later on in this list. But this is number 18 on the list. It's a strange cast, a strange film. The trailer's kind of fantastic. It's like 1 minute and 40 seconds at most. And it's just basically Henry Winkler's feet, and you see his legs walking down the street. And then you see Michael Keaton's legs join him, and they're walking down the street. And then you see two lovely ladies of the night join them, and they're all walking down the street. And then more ladies of the night legs join them, and all these legs are walking down the street. And then it pans out kind of, and it shows the ladies walk into a building. And Henry and Michael Keaton's kind of straightening Henry's suit and stuff, like his jacket. And he's like, come on, relax, you know? And the ladies, it's like fogged out, and they're all dancing behind this glass, right? And then as the camera pans up, it shows that it says City Morgue. And it just tells you everything you need to know in such a perfect 1 minute and 48-second trailer. It's wonderful. So basically, as I've already said, that you should be able to figure out, Henry Winkler plays Chuck. He's kind of given up on life as a stockbroker. It was too stressful. He decides to go work at the city morgue. He runs into a coworker then who's Bill, played by Michael Keaton, who is always looking to make a quick buck. And when Bill finds out that Chuck, Henry Winkler's prostitute neighbor, played by none other than Shelley Long, by the way,
Nice.
needs a place to do her work, he convinces Chuck to turn the morgue into a brothel. So another quick bonus to this is that Kevin Costner is a frat boy in this also. So that's kind of hilarious.
That sounds like Risky Business, which also was released in 1982.
Actually, 83, actually, sir.
Okay, 83. Okay.
It has a very similar kind of a tone to it, story-wise, but I do feel that there's a lot of differences within the films, just basically based on location and story and stuff overall. But yeah, you're right, Darren. There are a lot of similarities too.
Darren, that's how they sold Risky Business. They said it's like Night Shift, but not in a morgue.
But how did they sell hiring composer Tangerine Dream?
Ooh. Well, everybody was at the time, so that was a big.
They were designed.
That was a big get. So, anybody else have anything they want to add to this? Because it's just a fun, light little film, and I highly recommend it if you get a chance. You can watch it on YouTube. It's $2.99 to rent. It's also $2.99 to rent, I believe, on Amazon Prime as well.
I just put together the Ron Howard directed, and Henry Winkler was in it. So
that's true.
Richie Cunningham was directing the Fonz.
Yeah. Isn't that cool?
Yeah, that is cool.
I wonder how Henry felt about that. Like, Jesus, kid that I basically helped raise is directing me. What do I? I'm sure he was cool about it. And Henry always seemed like a pretty cool cat.
I've heard nothing but good things about that guy. So yeah, I'm sure he was cool.
Yeah. So what we're gonna do the Rotten Tomato rating?
Yeah, let's just go with just you, Donald. Let's just have you guess this one.
I'm gonna guess 54% on Rotten Tomatoes.
You are being.
I think
you're being really, really rough on this movie. Critics loved it. It got a 92.
Wow. No
wow.
shit. Wow. I did not expect that just because of the topic in the year. I assumed 82, a little more. Maybe not as much. I don't know. Wow, I'm surprised. Very surprised. Wow. And at any point, anybody wants to pre-guess the Rotten Tomato ranking or score in the chat, please feel free to do so.
Yeah,
because
no cheating, no.
Right. You don't cheat. Just take a guess, guys, and then we'll compare once we ask the person. So I'm like halfway done with mine, guys.
All right, we'll move on to Darren, number
All right.
17.
So the film I'm going to take next from Michael Keaton is 1986's Gung Ho. Now, this is something that was definitely unique, much more in the 80s than today. They were actually making fictitious films about current issues that were happening in the world. And one of the very interesting things that economists were predicting is there was a big surge in Japanese product that was being created and shipped all over the world. In this case, with Gung Ho, was automobiles. And there were early predictions that the Japanese would become the superior economy of the world due to the fact that the thought process was dedicate everything to your job. Your job comes first, your family comes second, and you come third. So what's interesting about Gung Ho, obviously that never happened. That cooled down in the 90s quite a bit. But what was really interesting about Gung Ho is you have your typical fish out of water story. You have a plant that's shut down in Pennsylvania, which Pennsylvania, of course, is right near Michigan, which, for years was producing cars. And when we were struggling as a country with car production in the 70s, the Japanese really filled that void very well. I myself own a Honda to this day. I've owned only Hondas. But the thing is, what I really like is the currency of this movie, how it was a really big thing happening, very capitalistic in nature, but also a big clash. I mean, Michael Keaton was working for the Japanese auto company, and they wouldn't let him take vacations. They wouldn't let him take sick days. It was really interesting to watch them clash in the relationships here. But also, too, I think this movie is very funny in a very sincere way, as opposed to like a goofy way. This is personally one of my favorites. I know it's dogged a little on this list, and probably over time by critics was dogged a little too. But I think if you go back and watch this movie, knowing the historical context, it's a real joy. And Chris, I'm going to preempt and tell you, I'm going to say they gave this a 57.
You are aiming really high on this movie.
Wow.
It was a 33.
Wow.
Yeesh.
Damn.
Good Lord and gravy. Darren, I didn't hear if you said, but George Wendt is in this film as well, yes?
Yes.
Okay, yeah. What a phenomenal actor and a very nice guy.
Oh my gosh, he's the nicest.
Norm, right?
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. Norm, yeah. He's like the Henry Winkler of Gung Ho. I don't know how else to say it.
And what I also really like is, despite the fact this movie is definitely played off as comedy, there is an excellent dramatic scene in the third act that I think really humanizes the movie as a whole and really puts in great perspective. And it seems like a lost art in comedy these days.
Nice. And by the way, if you haven't, if you remember the TV series Weakest Link, it was based on like your general knowledge of pretty much everything. George Wendt is phenomenally intelligent, like uber intelligent. The man's really good, really smart. Like when it comes to general knowledge and stuff like that, I haven't seen anything like it. So
He's your go-to trivia guy.
Yes, if they were like call a celebrity or whatever, I'm like George Wendt. Any day of the week.
Nice. All right, we're going to move on to the next one, which is me. This movie was made in 2015. It was biographical drama. It won an Academy Award. It was the second movie in like span of like 2 years, I think, that Michael Keaton was in that won an Academy Award. This is Spotlight. It's about an investigation into child sex abuse by Roman Catholic priests in the Boston area. Phenomenal movie, amazing acting all the way across. And Mark Ruffalo, Michael Keaton, Rachel McAdams, Liev Schreiber, Stanley Tucci. I mean, I think all the performances were top notch in that movie. And it was, I'm a little sad and shocked that it's so low in our list. I don't know. It made me.
It's actually supposed to be. I think it's supposed to be higher. I think this one is. Wasn't it supposed to be Jackie Brown? Was the next one?
No. Jackie Brown is a bit lower. It's a bit like Jackie Brown's lower.
You mean higher?
Yeah, it's higher. Well, shit, it should be lower. It is higher. Yes.
Then the list has changed, and I was not informed. So if I'm wrong on certain things, let me know, and I will apologize.
So yeah, this is.
But anyway,
I'll send you the list.
keep going, Chris. Sorry.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's. I think it's a really. I think I have some prejudice for another movie that is ranked a bit higher, but I do think that this is probably one of the best movies that Michael Keaton's ever been in. And it's I love this movie, and I like again. I forgot about it at first, and I'm really upset that I forgot about this movie because it's so good. Anybody else have anything to add about this movie? I know there's some other people that really enjoyed this movie.
I mean, it did win an Oscar for Best Picture, and I think a lot of people at the time that it had happened, people were like, "What is Spotlight?" And I really feel like it had to win that Best Picture for people to go watch it.
Yeah.
Because I don't feel like anyone really saw it. And it is, I think the dialogue is excellent in the movie. The character relationships are very good. I would agree with you, Chris. It's definitely solid.
Yeah, it's really good. I saw it on a plane to China, and you're kind of stuck in your seat, and you only have so many options. I really didn't want to watch it. Honestly, I really didn't. I don't like films that are too heavy like that because they tend to depress me, and I don't like to be depressed. It's not something that I go out and be like, maybe I'll watch a depressing film today. That's not.
Oh man,
don't watch Working for a Dream. Then.
I love.
Well, I watched Precious.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
That one was pretty heavy.
Oh wow.
So then I followed up with this, and but I was on a plane. I was just stuck, and I was like, all right, I'm going to put it on. And I will say it was very engaging, and I was already pretty depressed being in the middle row of the plane, flying 12 hours or however how long it was. So I was like, might as well. I'm just going to live this.
And Chris, I'm going to say 91.
91. Okay, yeah. You. Anybody else want to guess before I give you the answer?
I say 94.
I'm going to say 89.
I'll say 90.
All right. This is his second highest rated movie at a 97.
Damn.
All right.
Okay. All right. Ultraman Magnus says Adam West is the best Batman! ! Well, he's not making this list, buddy. Sorry.
All right. Well, the next movie is also me. So I'll just get out of the way. Next one is McDonald's. It's the dude responsible for McDonald's. It's the movie's The Founder. It was made in 2016. He was on a roll, man. He was on a roll for movies there for a while. Mm-hmm. I haven't personally seen this movie, but it's been on my list for about 6 years now. And I rewatched the trailer and watched the first 10 minutes of the movie, and I was really hooked. And it looks like a phenomenal acting choice by him, and is just like the second you see him, you're just hooked in. It has a good cast. It has BJ Novak, Nick Offerman is in it, Linda Cardellini. Good cast. It is just I've heard nothing but good things about him playing this character. Like I said, he had a role of playing real life characters, and he really did have like a rebirth as an actor, and I really love that about that. And this kind of is proof of that. This is like he was really building and building and building and building and building. A really basic movie is he plays man becomes a partner and ends up basically stealing McDonald's for the people who created it. I don't want to spoil it too much, but that's the basic premise of it. Phenomenal acting from what I've seen of it. Anybody else want to add anything?
I'm just wigged out by this ghost arm that keeps appearing in the back of my screen here. I don't understand. It looks like a
Popeye thing.
Donald, this is why I don't go sleeveless on this podcast. Okay, I mean you don't need to talk about my ghostness.
Look at that. There we go.
Is that are you raising your hand?
No.
That is.
Look, my hands are right.
Yeah, that is weird. That's weird.
It's the weirdest thing.
Yeah.
Okay, so. I didn't listen to anything you said.
Well, neither did I, because I started watching what you were doing, and I was like, wait, is he raising his hand? Like, am I in school? What's going on here?
I'm so sorry. It's yeah.
Can I take a guess for the founder?
Oh, sure, definitely. Let's everyone guess on this one.
I'm gonna go 78.
I'm gonna say 88.
I'm gonna say 80.
75.
Okay, it was very middle of the road. It was 80 is the answer.
Oh,
Yeah,
Okay.
80. It wasn't his best, but it was top. I think it was like top 8. So
That's always
yeah.
good.
All right, we'll move on to the next one, which I believe is Darren again.
It is.
Yes, it is number 14.
Okay.
14.
Okay, cool. Okay, I thought we had a different. All right, cool. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna do One Good Cop. Okay, One Good Cop has Michael Keaton, Anthony LaPaglia, Rene Russo. Essentially, what happens is Anthony LaPaglia is partner of Michael Keaton. They're both cops, and during a bank robbery, Anthony LaPaglia's wife is brutally murdered, and Anthony becomes basically completely derelict in just life and just heart-stricken. So Rene Russo and Michael Keaton, who are a couple that are not able to have natural-born kids, actually end up basically, adopting by proxy, these 3 daughters. The thing is, okay, so this movie, like, overall, it's pretty average in my opinion, but what I can never seem to figure out is at the end of it, it's very obvious Michael Keaton as a cop is committing a crime. And for some reason, not only do they cover the crime up, they kind of celebrate it. And the ending is really weird. Like I always refer to this movie as the movie that had the VHS box in the video rental store that I saw every single time because no one was renting One Good Cop. And I don't know. I think the concept is cool. It just doesn't execute the way maybe that I would prefer it to. But it is Keaton playing a cop, which is something we really don't get to see that much. It more of a aggressive role, if you will, for him. So One Good Cop, I definitely think it's worth a viewing. I would not put it up there with his best, but it's definitely worth a look.
Rotten Tomatoes agrees otherwise. Let's have a guess on what the score is.
42.
I think about 30.
I'm gonna be nicer. I'm gonna say 53%.
I'll go higher, Bob. I'll say 59%.
Oh, 15.
Big disconnect there for critics.
Critics did not like this movie.
Man.
Darren,
It's the ending. It's the
What was-
ending.
what was that one movie? It had shoot. Oh, geez, I hate forgetting people's names. Denzel Washington. It had Denzel Washington and Eva Mendes in it, and he was trying to stay one step ahead of the detective, which was his ex-wife or soon-to-be ex-wife.
Deja vu.
No, it
No,
wasn't
there's no.
No, it wasn't Deja Vu. It was something out of time, I think is what it was
Out of
called.
time, yeah.
Oh yeah.
Out of time. That's another one. By the way, that one is free on YouTube. It has commercials, yes. But if you do want to watch that, I recommend that one too. If you'd like One Good Cop or One Good Cop sounds good to you, check out Out of Time. I think it might actually be a better film than this Michael Keaton One Good Cop film. But both are worth seeing to compare.
Yeah,
at least.
yeah.
Damn, 15%.
Oh, right.
Whew.
Yeah, I saw that one.
Janet guessed 50. Janet guessed 50 and she was wrong. By the way, guys, I want everybody, if you can, to say hello to my mom and dad. They are watching.
I'm a mom and dad.
Oh, Mr.
Howdy,
Hi,
howdy.
Mr. McKinney.
Really quickly, I want to wish my dad a happy 77th birthday today.
That's
It is
right.
his
He's
birthday.
Happy birthday!
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
Years old. Oh my God. And my sister, Diana, it is also her birthday today.
Oh, wow. Happy
Wow.
birthday!
She has turned 50 years old for like the fifth time.
Wow.
I don't know. Let's
Wow.
just say she looks in her 30s and
Birthday.
she's loving it. So happy birthday, Diana. Happy birthday, Dad. Love you both. And
And what about happy belated to Janet, who's in the comments section?
well, yeah, happy belated birthday to Janet, of course. We went out and she took me out, gave me her free birthday ice cream over the weekend. So that was a nice treat. I will say
Awesome.
thank you for the birthday ice cream, Janet. We went in disguises, and because we went back in twice to the same restaurant. It's a long story, but it was a fun evening. So thank you for that, Janet. Happy birthday, belated, and happy belated to one Mr. Kevin Green as well. I know that we, he had his birthday last time before the podcast, but happy birthday again to Kevin. Happy
Thank you.
future birthday to Chris. Happy birthday
Jeez.
to Jared that's coming up. Yours
And
is
happy birthday to you, Donald. That's coming up too.
Happy birthday to everyone.
It's your birthday. I feel like Oprah Winfrey. I'm handing out birthdays right now. You get a birthday, and you get a birthday, you get a birthday. Everyone gets a birthday.
Wait. One day before Kevin, happy birthday to my wife, Emily.
That's
Oh,
right.
that's the most important
Emily,
one right there.
Happy belated birthday, Emily.
Happy birthday, Emily. And Ultra, thank you for wishing my dad a happy birthday. So I appreciate that. So
Yes.
moving on. So
Speaking of Denzel Washington, we're going to move on to the next one on the list, which is Much Ado About Nothing, starring
exactly how I
such people as Kenneth Branagh, Emma Thompson, Denzel, Keanu Reeves, and Michael Keaton in a turn in the. All right, so let me get real with you. All right, this is Shakespeare, right? You may all know Shakespeare's my thing. That's why I'm called Professor Chris. Shakespeare is the first Shakespeare play I ever saw. I was a 10th grade in high school, and they showed me this movie, and I really didn't know who many of these people were. I knew who Denzel Washington was, and who Keanu Reeves was, and I knew who Michael Keaton was because of Batman and Beetlejuice. And I saw this movie, and he played this character named Dogberry, and in this movie, Dogberry's he's the most memorable character in every version of it. Well, depends on not every version. He should be the most memorable character in any version you see. It doesn't always happen. And Michael Keaton really he stepped out. He kind of channeled Beetlejuice, but then also channeled other stuff and mixed it together. And he was very entertaining and very memorable. And he's what really got me excited and interested in learning more about Shakespeare. After I saw this play, I went to my theater teacher. I was like, let's do Shakespeare. And he's like, no. And I was like, but Michael Keaton. He goes, so. And then we ended up doing Midsummer Night's Dream the following year. But so he is the best thing about the movie, which is why I really wanted to put this on the list. I don't know if anybody else enjoys this movie. I love it. It's my favorite Shakespeare play. It's a decent version of it. There's some really good actors in it. Kenneth Branagh, Emma Thompson are amazing. Denzel's Keanu Reeves, not good. But Michael Keaton is by far the best part about this movie, which is why I wanted it on the list and why it's rated as high as it is.
Okay. Yeah, because Keanu was hot trash in that film.
Yeah, he was. He was terrible. They should not be doing. He's a great guy. He's some great movies, but you should not have him do Shakespeare. No. It's like.
By the way, thanks for joining us, Evan. I'm sorry to interrupt. I didn't know, but thank you for joining us.
It's like Leonardo DiCaprio playing Romeo. It's just as bad. So, yeah.
Coming here.
Sorry, what was that, Darren?
Strong opinions coming from the real short box.
Oh yeah. I mean, Shakespeare. I got some real mid opinions about these Shakespeare movies that have been made in the last 20 years. All right. So, anybody have a guess on what it was on Rotten Tomatoes?
My hand's already up.
Okay.
65.
I'm gonna say 89.
83.
33.
Donald, you're fired. The critics love this movie because it really is. If you love Shakespeare, it is a really good movie. It's probably one of the better ones that Kenneth Branagh directed. It was rated 90%.
Oh wow.
I think everyone knows the best Shakespeare film is still Shakespeare in Love, Chris.
That's not a Shakespeare film. It's about Shakespeare. It's not. Well, I guess it's sort of Romeo and Juliet, but
It's really good.
Ben Affleck, man.
Ben Affleck.
Joseph Fiennes is good in that movie, though.
I mean, is that Ray Fiennes'
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah. You didn't know that?
brother? Oh, I knew that. I'm just being silly.
Oh, okay.
All right.
And Kevin's been drinking.
We'll
again.
find the.
By the way, Janet gets 68%. On
Janet,
that
you're
one.
fired too. All right, we'll move on. Kevin finally gets to talk. I'm removing his muzzle.
All right. Oh, all right. Next would be a movie I mentioned a couple months ago when we were doing the ranking Quentin Tarantino films. One of my personal favorites that I know Donald hates is Jackie Brown. Now, what's interesting about this movie, this is the least bloodiest movie from Tarantino's filmography. There's not that much graphic violence or anything like that. There's barely any blood, to be honest with you. But it's such a fun movie. It's like a kind of a cool cat and mouse game. You got Jackie Brown, played by Pamela Grier. She's in cahoots with Samuel Jackson, who plays Ordell Robbie, who's like a drug dealer and just a very cold but funny, criminal.
An arms dealer, right?
Yeah, arms dealer. And Robert Forster, he plays like the bondsman. Michael Keaton, his role is pretty cool. He plays the ATF agent Ray Nicolette, and basically he stops her at the airport because he catches her with some drug money. She's moving back. By the way, she's a flight attendant. I forgot to say that. So she's able to smuggle money and drugs back and forth into the States. And so she gets caught by Ray Nicolette, and of course she's kind of forced to have to kind of work with him, to avoid getting some serious prison time. But what's cool is she's very clever. There's this cat and mouse game going on. Is she going to get away with it and also get some of that money for herself when she goes to do another trip? And it's really cool how everything plays out. And Michael Keaton, like I said, he does a great job as the agent because he's trying to figure out what's with Jackie Brown. Is she really doing the right thing? Is she trying to play him? And also, of course, he's trying to get the main criminal, Samuel Jackson's character, Ordell Robbie. So it's very fun if you watch it and how everything plays out. There's great dialogue. It's a lot of fun.
So, Kevin, a lot of our audience comes here because we can go into the next level of analysis. I was wondering, what kind of parallels does Jackie Brown have with Foxy Brown? Because Pam Grier, of course, was also in Foxy Brown. And did you catch any of those parallels? Because I know Quentin would have.
Oh, no doubt. Because obviously, Pam Grier was obviously the queen of blaxploitation films back in the 70s. And, of course, he was a big fan. So, yes, there are some parallels with Foxy Brown as well with Jackie Brown. The only difference is, of course, she's not showing as much skin, shall we say, in Jackie Brown.
and let me argue that some of her best work is not in Jackie Brown. It's actually in the television series The L Word.
Donald, how do you feel about her in Escape from L.A.?
We don't talk about that film.
I thought she was great. Because she was playing a he, which actually was a really cool performance.
Or they, them.
And also, a little interesting fact with Michael Keaton. I just double checked and looked it up. So Jackie Brown was based off of an Elmore Leonard novel.
Right.
The film Out of Sight, which came out, I think, either a little bit before or a little after that, is another. Yeah.
Same character.
He plays the same character.
Wow. Just cut him off at the knees, Kevin. Yeah. Just cut him off at the knees.
No, I wasn't revealing anything, but no.
Oh, damn.
But, he plays Ray Nicolette in that as well because it's obviously the same world.
And let me tell you, if you guys don't pay us $19.95 each right now out there in the audience, we'll send Kevin to the movie theater to sit behind you and tell you what's going to happen right before it does.
Come on. Come on.
80. I'm going to say 80, Chris.
Okay, that's a good guess. Anybody else want to guess?
88.
89.
86.
You guys are really close. Nobody guessed it exactly, but the answer was 87.
Okay.
Yes, it's probably mid-range for Tarantino rankings.
Okay.
Let's move on to the next one. This was Jarrett finally has one to talk about.
Do it. So we are doing the 1990 psychological thriller Pacific Heights, directed by John Schlesinger, starring Michael Keaton, Melanie Griffith, and Matthew Modine. You don't get much more like early 90s than that cast. This is my favorite. Roger Ebert described this movie as, quote, a horror film for yuppies. And a lot of other people said that. They said some people that said that either positive or negative are like, yeah, this film was pretty much like a yuppie's worst nightmare. Basically, what happens is you have Matthew Modine and Melanie Griffith. They're an unmarried couple. That's stressed. They're not married, but they buy this really nice house in the Pacific Heights area, which is a very fancy, rich area, still is, of San Francisco, although everything in San Francisco is expensive. even like bad areas. But they buy this house with apartments in it, and they rent it out. And Carter Hayes, Michael Keaton, who was, I believe this was his first big turn as like a villain. He was his first time kind of playing like the heavy. And he basically becomes the squatter from hell. He weasels his way into the apartment and then won't leave, like literally locks the door and plays mind games with them. And it has a very psychological thriller 90s ending. I won't spoil it for you if you want to see it. But it was a big film for the time. I think it replaced Goodfellas was at the box office, the top for that time. And then Pacific Heights, came in and took over. So it did pretty well. And yeah, like I said, it was a big turn for Michael Keaton. This was his first time as like, not the good guy. He's going to play the bad guy in this. And yeah, I think A Horror Story for Yuppies is about as as great a description as you can get.
Let me ask you something. Didn't this film spawn the song "How Do You Talk to an Angel"?
No, that was actually The Heights, the TV show of the 90s.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
I sadly know the answer to that.
I'm proud of you for that.
Well, while you know answers, you know the answers of what it was ranked on Rotten Tomatoes.
I can't answer this one because I did see it, so I will abstain from
29%.
Okay.
I'm gonna go with 17.
I'll say 48.
The answer is 50. 50%. It's very, very average.
Very close.
Yeah.
It's left on this list.
Yeah.
Right down the middle.
Right down the middle. But it did bump a major film out of this top spot. So suck it.
Yeah,
And
take
a little trivia. So Melanie Griffith's mother is the famous actress Tippi Hedren, who is famous for being in The Birds with Alfred Hitchcock. She actually has a small part in the film, which I thought was pretty interesting. So
Is she being pecked by birds?
no,
Yeah.
unfortunately,
I don't care. Yeah.
off screen maybe,
Oh, okay.
because she was always carrying a loaf of bread.
Oh, all right. We're gonna round up our top 10 or our bottom 10 by hitting to 10.
Oh, by the way, really quickly, Janet was close. She gets 59 for Pacific Heights. So Janet's getting there. She's going to nail one of these right on. I'm sure of it.
Yeah, so we get close.
There you
All right, so number 10. We got Donald at number 10.
Desperate Measures.
Oh, no. I love this one so much. I saw it in the theater twice. Not 3 times, by the way, but twice. Or was it my clone? Huh. I don't know, but we're talking about the 1996 film, Michael Keaton starring Multiplicity. Oh, man, this is great. Michael Keaton plays a character named Doug, who he's busy all the time. He's a construction worker. He struggles to make time for his family, his life, his work, because of his demanding job, obviously. So he's working on this building of this scientist, and the scientist is like, hey, you look like a stressed out individual. What if I told you I could help you with that stress? And he's like, what do you mean, Doc? What do you mean? Like, what do you mean? And he's like, well, we could just clone you. And he's like, how's that work? And he's like, let me talk to you about it. He talks to him about it. Next thing you know, bam, he's cloned himself. And now he's got a more butch version of himself out there in the world doing all his construction work while he spends time with his family, having fun and doing family stuff. Only problem with that is the family stuff is so demanding. He doesn't have time to like enjoy his own things that he wants to do in life. So then he clones a third copy, and he gets a third copy of himself. And that one is a little more feminine, a little more in touch with his emotions. Likes to cook, likes to clean, likes to take care of the family, do all the chores and the housework and things like that. So that leaves him now time for all the fun stuff, for himself. And so then what happens is the 2 clones, they decide that they're tired of doing all of that stuff and not having any fun. So then they clone one of theirs. And then this one is a dum-dum, because you can't make a copy of a copy without it being a little bit slower or looking a little bit dimmer. And that's exactly what happens. So Hilarity Ensues. It's directed by Harold Ramis, guys. Again, it came out in 1996. It stars Michael Keaton, and playing his lovely wife is Andie MacDowell. It's a lot of fun. It's a great, silly film. I highly recommend you at least check out the trailer. It is available. You can get it on Hulu. I think you probably have to pay for it through a Starz subscription, possibly. I'm not 100%, but I know it is available on Hulu. Or there are dubious means you could probably find it. And if not, I'm sure Big Lots has it for $1.99 in their DVD bin someplace. So you could always find it there too. So Multiplicity. Oh, I forgot. It also stars Eugene Levy. Yeah, I don't want to, and Richard Mauser. So I don't want to give those guys. I want to give them credit where credit's due.
Shit.
Yeah. Just like a great cast. So a lot of fun. Great 90s flick. Highly recommend you check it out. It made me laugh multiple times.
And I don't know what it is, but it's like if anybody who's ever had a time where they've worked at a, I guess you guys with the movie theater, but like I worked at a video store, and for some reason when you work at video stores, you kind of just remember the hot movies when you were working at that video store. I worked at a video store called Silver Screen Video, and I just remember Multiplicity being on the shelves and like recommending that to like people coming. What do you got new? We got
multiple copies.
Yeah, multiple, and we did. We had a ton of them. There was a ton of Multiplicity.
What's up, Dodgers 818? Thank you for joining. Appreciate you. Hope you enjoy this. Hope you go back and watch the beginning if you can.
All right, Donald, give me a guess.
On Multiplicity, sadly, I know this. No, I don't know this one at all. I'm going to say probably 65%.
I'm going to say 45 because it was misunderstood.
I'm going to go down the middle and say 50.
And I'm going to shoot high. I'm going to go 87.
All right, Darren got it on the money, a 45.
Wow.
Congratulations to Darren.
Does Darren get a cookie? Does Darren get a
money
cookie?
Gets it on the money.
Hey, 45% of the nation's critics understood this film and its complexities.
Janet said 74. Janet, you were way off on this one. But if you turned it around.
All right. We're gonna go back to Kevin here. Give him this little time in the sun to chat. We're gonna give us number 9.
And number 9 is gonna be the 2017 film, the third version of Peter Parker's movies, Spider-Man: Homecoming. Now, I followed Donald's advice. He said, Kevin, do not watch The Amazing Spider-Man or The Amazing Spider-Man 2. So I said, okay. I did not, because he swears me up and down, especially the last one that pretty much led to this movie. He said it was god-awful. But after watching this movie, I think we all went to the movie theater to watch this together 5 years ago. I was so enthused. I really liked this movie. It was really, really good. Adrian Toomes, Vulture, played by Michael Keaton. A complex villain, kind of like Magneto in a way. He's not totally like an evil person. It's just he's doing what he has to do to support his family. His job was forced out of business, and so he's suffering. He's trying to feed his family. You guys got to do what you got to do. So of course, he uses some technology. He kind of modified it from the Chitauri technology from the original Avengers movie, and that's how he's able to put together that Vulture costume. And to make things a little twisty in the movie, a little plot twist, the fact that his daughter is dating Peter. Mm-hmm. And of course, Peter knows that, oh man, this guy, he finds out later, oh my God, the guy I've been fighting, he's the father of my homecoming date. This is crazy. Well, what am I going to do? And of course, eventually Adrian figures out who Peter really is, that he's Spider-Man, and it's very interesting, especially at the very end of the movie. It gets very interesting, but you're sympathetic towards the needs and the suffering and the motivations of Michael Keaton's character, Adrian Toomes, the Vulture. He does a really good job playing a complex gray villain.
And the scene where they're in the car when he's dropping them off at the dance.
Oh yeah.
Phenomenal. Like when he's like, I know who you are and you know who I am.
Yep.
So this is a choice you could make.
Great acting. Great acting scene.
By the way, Enrique's coming in hot with his prediction, Spider-Man Homecoming, 95%.
Well,
that's a solid guess.
I'm going to say 92.
I'm going to go with 97.
Okay.
I'm going to go 94.
All right.
89.
Oh, come on, Donald. You're the only person who's not in the
All right, it is close. It was a 92. It was the 4th highest ranked Spider-Man movie.
But,
nice.
But I want to come in with a strong opinion, too. I still think Spider-Man 2 with Alfred Molina is the best of all the Spider-Mans.
It's funny you mentioned that. for me, it's 1A and 1B with Spider-Man No Way Home. I really enjoyed
Oh, that's
No Way Home.
fantastic.
I actually put it right up there with Spider-Man 2.
That was
I mean, my goodness, I'm in love with that movie after watching that.
It was so good.
In love with that movie.
Janet gets 96%, by the way. So Enrique was 95, Janet was 96. And since they're behind us in the feed, those are two valid guesses.
Yeah, not bad at all.
No.
Great
Not
film.
bad.
Just fun. I love Tom Holland as Spider-Man.
Oh, he's great. He's great.
Fun on a bun. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, we're gonna move on
Good stuff.
to number, was it 8 next? And we got Donald for his last one.
This is a great one.
Finishing it out. What can I say about this film? This 1989 beautiful film starring none other than, besides Michael Keaton, we have Christopher Lloyd, we have Peter Boyle, we have Stephen Furst. We have an eclectic cast of characters that are from a mental institution that are out on a day date with their therapist, Dr. Weitzman. And they are there to go to a ball game. But guess what? They don't make it to the ball game because Dr. Weitzman gets knocked the F out by a couple of bad cops that have gone rogue and just in it for the money. And they're about to do him in when somebody walks past and they have to run away and get out of there. And Dr. Weitzman gets carted off to the hospital. And these 4 mental patients are out loose in New York and have to find their doctor and save him from these bad cops that are on their way to kill him. It is a great story. It is so much fun. Michael Keaton plays the character, I believe his name was Billy. And Billy has anger management issues. So he's the first one. Christopher Lloyd, who plays Henry. Henry thinks he's a doctor. He's not. He has OCD issues. He has some superiority issues when it comes to thinking he's better than he is. Peter Boyle cracks me up. He plays Jack. I think his name was McDermott, I think.
God, he's so good in it. Yeah.
And he plays a guy that was into it was like in a marketing firm that loses his goddamn mind and thinks that his only way to Jesus is to get naked. So
Anytime he can, yeah.
anytime he can talk to you about God, he's taking his pants off, which is freaking great. And then Stephen Furst plays Albert, who swing and a miss, only speaks in baseball terms. And they are a lovingly beautiful cast of misfits in this hilarious 1989 comedy that I think is some of each and every one of these guys' best work. I love this film. I watch this film at least once every 2 years. I'll crack this one out and watch it and just laugh. And it is so good and so fun and so wholesome. I highly recommend it to anybody. You can rent it on YouTube, Google Play, Apple TV, and I believe even Vudu for about $4. Otherwise, you can find it probably in the Walmart bins or on eBay for pretty cheap, probably $4 or $5 if you wanted to buy it on DVD. Great film, recommend.
It is definitely very overlooked. I think that there is a lot of genius in the movie. It's one of those movies that if I'm in a group of people and it's time to pick a movie, I always pick the dream team, and it's always the correct choice. Just want to make sure that's going into my report.
Yeah, Dream Team, solid. I saw this in the theater. I think I saw it twice, actually.
Wow.
One of those ones that just snuck up on me. Like I was like, oh, I was not expecting to like this film as much as I did, and at a pretty young age too. And yeah, it's just well written, well done. That group of actors working together is phenomenal.
It just goes across like all ages, I think, Jared, which is why you understood it.
Yeah, guys, I think we made a mistake, and I think we rated this too low. I think it should be higher up in the list because we all seem to really enjoy it. Yeah,
I thought about it. I really did, but I thought as it is an amazing film, and every one of them does a great job in their part. Again, it is very much all these 4 individuals together, and without one, it just wouldn't have been as magical, I feel. So that is why it's a little lower in the list. I would have liked it higher. Honestly, I would have placed it probably number 2 had I had my way, but I thought, let's be fair about this and think about the fact that he's playing, in an ensemble cast and not just starring himself.
And also seeing Chris Boyle's ass is quite jarring.
Where do we think where do we think the critics thought the movie belonged?
Well, the critics are dumb, so I bet you they like 63.
Wow. Yeah. You know what, Darren? I'm gonna agree with you, but I'm gonna rank it just slightly higher. I'm gonna go about 65.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go just a bit outside with 76.
I'll say 60.
All right. The answer is. Give a couple more seconds for anybody that's online. Might want to try to guess. Answer is 53.
Ooh.
Oh
Wow.
Yeah,
that sucks.
I think they're way off on this one. On my list, I would, for comedies, I'd put it almost a 90. It's about as funny as it
ranked.
gets.
I agree. I would
Ranked
really
just higher than Pacific Heights.
And Keaton has a mullet, which is the best part of this all.
Yeah. And he puts a chair through a window. When the doctor comes in, the chair's still stuck in the window. It's great. It's great comedy. Enrique ranked it at 61%, and Janet ranked it at 62%.
So they're getting closer.
Yeah, we're all getting closer and closer. So that's it for me. That's it for me. I'll just be commenting.
All right, Jared, we're going to move on to your next one. Number 7.
Number 7. Yeah, this was a film I had to present to the group because it's another kind of overlooked, yet I think phenomenal performance by Michael Keaton. It's called Clean and Sober. Came out in 1988. Co-produced by Ron Howard, who did Night Shift and Gung Ho. Really interesting cast. It's got Michael Keaton. It's got Kathy Baker, M. Emmett Walsh, one of the great character actors. Morgan Freeman. It's basically about it's a great film. But Michael Keaton plays this character Daryl Pointner. He's a successful yet self-destructive real estate salesman, and he's addicted to cocaine. And he plays a coke addict. Like if you've ever seen a real person on cocaine, like he nails it. So I'm sure he had some personal experiences. But so he plays this real estate agent who embezzles $92,000 of his company's money and loses $52,000 of it. At the same time, he wakes up one morning after partying, and the woman he's with and slept with that night died of a heart attack from cocaine. So he tries to cover that up. He has the money he just burnt out. So he goes, how do I? And he's trying to leave the country. He can't leave the country because I don't think he has his funds. He tries to get a friend to kind of put him up for a while to kind of hide him out. Friend won't hide him out. So he's just at the bottom of the barrel at his bottom. And he goes to a treatment center, and starts going to meetings, like AA meetings or NA meetings. And Morgan Freeman, who plays kind of the head guy there, embraces him and kind of says, I know you're here to run from your problems, but maybe let's start facing them. And it's just a really good. It's not a story you see a lot of. You see a lot of drug, history movies where guys have drug problems and it just goes really bad and they die or come out of it, or like a Train Spotting kind of thing. But this is actually all about the recovery aspect of it. And M. Emmett Walsh plays his sponsor, and it's just it's a heavy film. So yeah, it's you got to be in the mood for it. But it's got a really great message. Michael Keaton's phenomenal in it. It's a really just human story. So yeah, highly recommend it. Yeah, Clean and Sober. Just one of those kind of surprise films that I saw much later on. And yeah, highly recommend it.
And do you want to guess a score?
I'll say probably a lot of critics I'll say a lot of critics liked it, but it probably didn't do good box office. So I'll give it a higher score. I'll give it a 86.
I'm going 70.
75.
76.
All right, it tied with the classic movie The Dream Team at 53.
Damn.
Oh no, that's messed up.
That's harsh.
Oh, man.
That's messed up.
That's harsh.
I mean, seriously, these critics, man, what are they going to criticize next? The Substitute with Tom Berenger? I mean, come on.
Do you want to know what that score is? I'll look it up.
Get right to it.
Yeah, get right to it.
All right. Up next, we have Kevin again in a movie that I feel.
Wait.
Yes.
Chris, what was Clean and Sober?
50. That was number 7.
What was
53%. 53.
What percent? 53. Enrique guessed 50%.
All right.
Woo! Not bad.
Yeah, up next we have Kevin again, talking about a movie that I feel shouldn't even be on the list, let alone as high as it is. But I'll let him go from there.
Well, the chairman of the board decided that it was going to be this ranked this high. So it's a movie with a poster that's very disturbing when you think about it now. It's very prescient.
It's one of the best posters ever.
I don't know about that.
It's great.
Had a certain unfortunate event not happened 21 years ago, I would agree with you.
You know what? Let me tell you. I think there was 21 years in between when that happened, right?
14.
Or at least
14.
Okay. So
Yeah.
how are they supposed to know 14 years into the future? Come on. It's still a great poster.
Yeah, no doubt. It's a very interesting poster. But the movie is called the 1987 movie The Squeeze. It has Michael Keaton playing Harry Berg, an artist, Ray Dawn Chon playing Rachel Dobbs, a detective, Joe Politano, who's famous for The Matrix and an early Christopher Nolan film.
Pantoliano.
Pantoliano,
yeah.
I'm sorry, I can't pronounce it.
Yeah.
Forgive me.
Joey Pants.
Killer Pim.
Just say that.
Meatloaf, the late great Meatloaf.
Mm-hmm. Yep, not to be confused with Ham Loaf.
No. Also, another late great actor, Danny Aiello, is also in the movie.
Oh God, 2 Days in the Valley, Hudson Hawk.
Professional. He's great.
And this movie had a dark history. Unfortunately, a stuntman was killed during the making of the movie. The budget skyrocketed for different reasons, going from $12 million to $22 million. It only grossed $2.2 million at the box office, and the critics, from my understanding, did not like the movie either.
Critics suck. It's a great film. Watch it. Love it.
All right, so Kevin, do you know what the score is? You were just saying the critics didn't like it. Do you know what the score was, or do you want to?
I'm gonna say it's probably, if it's that bad, it's probably like, I don't know, 15% or something like that. If it's that bad.
I'm gonna say it stinks. 23%.
I'm going bold. 0.
Oh, good Lord, man.
So I'm thinking that I know the answer, much like Kevin probably knew the answer. So yeah, 15%.
I mean, you're all right. So I looked up the substitute. It is definitely ranked lower than the substitute. The substitute is ranked at 43. This is Michael Keaton's lowest rated movie at a 14.
Oh my
wow.
gosh.
Woo!
Oof.
Wait, where's the substitute 2?
I didn't look that one up.
Oh,
Come on. Don't make Chris have to do all this research.
And then look up Sniper 2. I want to know that one.
Poor guy.
All right, we're going to cleanse ourselves of this, and we're going to go move on to the next one, which is, in my personal opinion, the best Michael Keaton movie ever made. That would be Birdman. And it's not even because of Michael Keaton. It's because there is 32 seconds of me in it.
Jarrett, there it is, baby.
32
Sniper.
seconds of the best, 32 best seconds of Hollywood history with Christopher D. Turner starring in four scenes.
Sitting under the stairs.
I was watching. I was a security guard watching Family Guy. At one point, a light falls on a guy, and I run out stage. And I had a line that got cut from the movie. I was really excited about that. I was like, "Yes, I'm gonna talk to Michael Keaton on camera," and they cut it. But it was great. I got to spend an entire month on set, ready, getting to know all the actors. I spent an entire 10-hour day in a stairwell with Emma Stone. And I heard a lot of stories about her and Andrew Garfield when they were dating. And about her and Octavia Spencer. Well,
let's just end the podcast now and listen.
I got to meet Michael Keaton. He ate lunch with us every single day. Really, really nice guy. Zach Galifianakis and I would do a crossword puzzle every day with the New York Times. We do the crossword puzzle together, while we're sitting on set waiting, because the takes were so long because they were 10-minute takes, because they were shooting it like it's one take. And so literally a take, so he'd stop and we'd just hang out, and I'd be doing the crossword puzzle in the play, and he'd lean over and he goes, And he gave me an answer to that one. And we did this for like 3 or 4 hours. And then after that, we started doing it together during lunch and stuff. And it was really fun. So I was there on a whole month, like 2 weeks in the studio and then 2 weeks at the actual theater. And it was really cool just being able to hang out with these people and see this experience. And as a theater person, I thought the movie was fantastic, and being able to just take all the satire of him as Batman and kind of, like I said, this was kind of like the beginning of his renaissance as an actor, and being able to make it in real life, I thought was really amazing. And so for the fact that kind of and won a bunch of Academy Awards, he was nominated. It was probably the closest he's gotten to winning for Best Actor, and those been.
I heard though, Chris, real quick. I heard that though once he found out he had lost, he walked up to the roof and then just fell over, and then you thought he was going to fall, but then he just flew.
Spoilers.
Yeah.
I will say this: Edward Norton was not a fan of him. He kind of just ignored everybody, and kind of he might have been in character the whole time. I'm not sure. I'm not going to say too much, but I never really got a chance to chat with him. I wish I could have. But yeah, so I think this is his best chance of winning an Academy Award for Best Actor. And if you include the 34 Seconds of Me, I feel like it should be ranked number 1, but it's not.
Damn.
Still pretty high.
Chris, I'll sympathize with you in the sense that I receive regular residual payments from Indiana Jones and the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. Now, naturally, people always will criticize that movie, but I won't criticize it because I'm continuing to get paid for it. But just to be completely honest, I really hate this movie. Like I said, the opening, we talked beforehand, I saw the opening screening with Q&A with Michael Keaton, with my good friend Nick, and I really, really wanted to like this movie so much, but I hated every second of it. Maybe it just, I guess it just went over my.
Yeah, it's definitely like. It's a niche type film. I think people that are really super into theater are the ones that enjoy it. And being able to I think maybe, like I said, maybe I am biased because I was in it and spent so much time reading the script and watching it. And then I'm just like, I think it's great. And I think it's hilarious. And I get it. And so maybe that's bias. So it's probably ranked. Yeah, so it's probably ranked where it belongs, but I personally think it should be ranked number 1. I like the ones that are ranked higher, but yeah, it's a personal preference. It's
fair.
What were you gonna say?
That's fair.
All right. Anybody have any guess on what's ranked? Rotten Tomatoes.
93.
90.
Donald took my thing.
91.
93 and a half.
Kevin is right at 91.
Yeah.
Well, I was just going off. Enrique said 95 and Janet said 94. So I was like, let's go 93.
All right. We're going to move off of this and we're going to go on to probably what is his most famous movie. Go ahead, Darren.
All right. We're going to, of course, talk about Bruce Wayne, the Batman. This was obviously this film to me, it came out in 1989. It was one of the first movies I remember seeing in a movie theater. It was very trend-setting in a lot of ways. Obviously directed by Tim Burton, score by Danny Elfman. I think someone whose name deserves a lot more recognition on this than they get is the great Anton Furst, who is the production designer. Very brilliant use of miniatures, great use of sets. He really kind of redefined the way movies looked and kind of helped us get into the 90s with a very distinct look. Obviously, Prince has a very memorable song in this. Michael Keaton, I think, has a very interesting choice for Bruce Wayne. That's very neat to watch, very quirky, a little. Obviously, I think this movie, it's not my favorite one, but I will say the Joker's so good in it that without the Joker, I don't even know what this movie would be, because the Joker is just so excellent in it. But it really, Jack Nicholson has been making money off of Batman films, including the Christian Bale ones, basically for the rest of his life, because he set the tone so strongly in this franchise. And Yeah, I think Batman 1989, I think what I'll remember it most as is how it completely changed the way movies looked. And that's a pretty impressive thing that we saw there. And of course, with limited computer effects and great miniature work, a lot of great artistry went into this. And yeah, obviously, I think this really, I don't want to say this put Michael on the map because it most certainly didn't. He was already there, but I think this took him to a level of superstardom I don't think anyone would have pictured him getting to.
100%. Yeah, this was his blockbuster film. This was his because a lot of people also didn't know if he was going to pull it off. They thought it was an interesting casting choice, and I think we all agree he knocked it out of the park. It was fun seeing him paired with Jack Nicholson because I think he kind of has a Jack Nicholson kind of feel to him sometimes. You know, you could or he's influenced by him or just kind of digs him. They obviously see it. I mean, you see it in the film when he's like, "You want to get crazy?" Like that's like Jack Nicholson. It's like Michael Keaton doing Jack Nicholson.
Do you want to get nuts?
You want to get nuts? Sorry.
Let's get nuts. The famous meme then where they are both at the nut shop getting nuts.
And also Jack Palance. Jack, don't forget your lucky back.
Isn't he in the sequel or was he in the first?
He's in the first one.
Was he in the? Oh, Watkins was in the second one. That's what it was.
You know, and I know this sounds mean, but I love when they shoot the detective in there because I'm like, oh my God, he's fat and he got a bullet in his stomach.
All right.
I don't know.
Kevin, you're talking a lot about Batman 2, so let's give it like 45 seconds about Batman 2. Which one do you think is better? Which one do you think was ranked higher? Which one did he have a better performance, better than one or the other?
I'm going to say Batman Returns. I thought he had a slightly better performance. It's a very interesting niche film, a darker movie, a very underrated movie. And in some respects, looking back as a grown adult, I think Batman Returns might be a little bit better. As fun as Jack Nicholson's Joker is, I like the complexity of Catwoman and the poor Penguin and his suffering and his complexity, being an abandoned child, Mr. Oswald Cobblepot. And of course, you can't go wrong with Christopher Walken and his villainy. I'm going to say Batman Returns might be slightly higher. Chris.
All right, instead of a score, let's guess whether or not which one was higher between Batman and Batman 2. Or Batman Returns.
I'd say first Batman.
First.
All right, so Batman was ranked 72, and Batman Returns was ranked an 80.
Wow.
Oh, I was right.
They got it
right.
wrong. You know,
Right.
Batman Returns was the first movie I saw in a theater that my childhood innocence was ripped from me because I realized I could actually be disappointed sitting in a movie theater.
All right, guys, we're going to move.
You know, to be fair, McDonald's did have those great glasses.
Yeah.
Still,
Like our cups with the
Still
little
have it.
crispy
We're
tops,
gonna we have number 3 now. We have Jarrett send us off with this one.
Yeah, this is my last one. This is the first film that I had ever seen Michael Keaton in, and this is the 1983 film Mr. Mom.
Love it.
Directed by Stan Dracoti, but more crazy, written by screenplay by John Hughes. So this is one of his first screenplays. And funny, we talked about Gung Ho, which was about a guy working for the Asian car companies. In this, the character Jack Butler lives with his wife Carolyn and their children. They got 3 kids in Detroit, and this is about the early 80s recession when the Ford Motor Company had to close down. And so Jack is an engineer, and he loses his job. His wife says, I've got a college education. I can go back to work. So she goes to work as in advertising. And so they switch roles. He's at home taking care of the kids. And it's a comedy. It was because a lot of people forget Michael Keaton actually started in stand-up comedy. Like, with the way his career has gone, I think people forget about that. But he actually was a kind of working stand-up. So yeah, he was. This is how I was first introduced to him, and I loved this film as a kid. And it was just Michael Keaton at his comedic best. I think he's just great with the kids. The wife stuff, everything. The other. It stars also Terry Garr, Martin Mull, Christopher Lloyd again. It was just. This was the first. I think this was super big too because this was Michael Keaton's first leading role. So it was the first time that he was on the map, kind of running the film, and he pulled it off. And this is, I think, the beginning of his career as far as a leading man.
Jared, correct me if I'm wrong on this, but there is a problem within the community of stand-up comics where once they act and they get into an acting role, oftentimes you find that they're so good at drama that they don't go back to comedy, and that's a real problem.
100%. Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. 100%.
Like the dramatic world keeps stealing from the comic world, and I don't like that. We're not getting an onslaught of comedy films anymore like we used to, and I miss that terribly. And I think that's probably part of what's wrong with America right now.
100%.
That's because drama is easier to do than comedy. Like, yes, it is. As an actor, drama is easier. Take it from the professor who teaches acting. Drama is easier.
I can sympathize with what Donald says. Chris's take, though, is conventional wisdom. But
right.
Jared, being that you and I now have something similar as at times in our lives, we have now played Mr. Mom. It makes it a lot funnier. And it's like, obviously at the time, there was definitely a clear gender role kind of thing. And the fact that, like, Michael Keaton doing this, would not have been seen very often, which makes it all the more funnier.
Right, 100%.
All right.
Yeah, coming from the different world of he was the worker man. It was very specific to the gender roles of the time. Things have obviously changed, but and especially him coming from like working at a car factory, like a guy's guy, to at home, taking care of the kids. And
he was working at in Gung Ho in a car factory, and then now he's taking care of the kids.
All right, guys, let's go ahead and guess real quick what we think this was. Yes.
Mr. Mom?
Good.
78.
I'm going to say 60.
88.
72.
88.
All right, answer 75. 75, yes.
Great. I'm glad to hear that. That's a good rating.
Enrique got it correct at 75.
Nice, Enrique.
All right, Donald. Donald, before we get to our final two, can you just tell us a little bit about our sponsors?
Absolutely. I would love to tell us about our sponsors, or tell you. Tell us, tell everybody. We have several sponsors. One of them is a hot sauce company. Go to halfshotsauce.com, type in the coupon code Donald Hiccups, get 10% off your order. Again, currently on my eggs every morning, I am having one called Maine Squeeze. It is a watermelon rhubarb hot sauce. Not too hot, slightly sweet, bit of smoke added to it. Very flavorful. Highly recommend it. Another one that was one of my mom's personal favorites that she uses all the time. In fact, she ran out recently and texted me that she ran out, and I'm like, uh-oh. It's called Trippy Pickle. It is a pickle hot sauce. You can add that to your dogs, your burgers, your eggs, anything that a pickle would be appropriate as a side or a topping with. That works perfectly as well. Our second sponsor is a big one, guys. It's on my hat. It's so big. This is Splattered Frog Brewing. Splattered Frog Brewery. You go to splatteredfrog.com, type in the coupon code SHORTBOX, get 20% off your order. You can get glasses, you can get koozies, you can get hats, you can get shirts. Anything they have on their site, 20% off with our coupon code SHORTBOX. Check them out, please. They are a wonderful sponsor and the reason why we're still around today.
All right, that sounds great. Darren, we're going to go ahead and go to you, and we're going to have you tell us the 1-minute elevator pitch on number 2 and why you think it's number 2.
We're talking about, of course, Ron Howard's The Paper. The Paper definitely, I don't know if it holds up quite the same way today, only because we don't formally print newspapers like we used to. However, I would say that number 2 is pretty fair because it was very popular in the Oscars in 1994, which was the year, obviously, Forrest Gump and Pulp Fiction were out in circulation. So to get recognition there would be great. The Paper, to me, the thing that I really like about it is it's one of the few movies that heavily critiques the media industry while also praising it at the same time. It's relatively pretty fair. What you have is Michael Keaton, who's playing an assistant editor at a newspaper called The Sun, which is, basically a New York newspaper, fake one. But basically, he is a person that allows his deadline to dominate everything in his personal life. So it asks the question, can you have a work life at the paper and another life? And obviously, he's not very good at balancing that. And, the major plot point in the movie is there's these two kids that are accused of killing somebody out on the street. And Glenn Close, basically, she wants to print the story and then correct it later, as opposed to waiting to get the facts for it. Because
if they're accused and it turns out to be false, she doesn't care. She just wants it printed that they did it, and then later she's like, we can do a retraction. And Keaton's like, no. Yeah, and Keaton's like, no, this is people's lives. We can't do that like responsibly. So there's this big clash of morality in this, which is why it's such a perfect film, especially for now.
Yeah, and I think too that like it was probably the most significant commentary on the media since probably Network back in 1976, which I think is why it kind of played very well. And it's a story that's very easy, I think, for people to relate to, especially since we have news access through our phones so easily now. So there's your pitch for you.
That was amazing. Thank you. I don't think I could have done it that quickly because I would have spent 90 seconds just going awesome. Now let's do a quick guess on what the score is and see if anyone can get close.
87.
I'm gonna say 86.
88.
Jared got it right at 88.
Nice.
Oh, there you go.
I'm the only one that hasn't guessed one of these. This is
now I know how it feels to be the person who's going against the guy in Price is Right.
Well, Donald, maybe you'll be able to guess the next one. The number one choice, probably the other one that's probably most famous. The second Michael Keaton movie made based on a musical that was based off of. Go ahead, Donald, Kevin, tell us a little bit about this.
Beetlejuice.
Beetlejuice?
Don't say it again. No.
There he appears. He appears. That is right. Number one with a bullet, guys. We have the Tim Burton directed, Danny Elfman musical scored, Alec Baldwin acted, Michael Keaton, Gina Davis, Jeffrey Jones, Winona Ryder. We have Beetlejuice. Yes. Oh my God. How could I? I'm so sorry. Catherine O'Hara. Yeah. Such a wonderfully acted, beautifully scripted film of weirdness and macabre. Like everybody that hated sports, their parents, and their lives loves Beetlejuice still to this day. Like it is a phenomenal film. It's just so much fun. The basic premise, Kevin, and correct me if I'm wrong, is that Alec Baldwin and Gina Davis. Alec played, I believe, Adam, and Gina was Barbara. So Adam and Barbara they buy this house. They start to renovate it lovingly, and they're driving, and they accidentally get driven kind of off a covered bridge, and they wreck, and they drown, and they die. But their ghosts are brought back to haunt the home that they live in that is now going to be occupied by Winona Ryder as the daughter, Jeffrey Jones, Catherine O'Hara as the parents. Right. And they are kind of like, how do we get rid of these people? We want to live our lives in our haunted home alone. We don't want to have to haunt it. We want to just live. So basically, then they're brought into this afterworld to kind of be taught how to haunt and how to drive away people so they can live happily in their home. And they do so. And there's some great comedy that happens. But in doing so, they find out that there is another way. If you just say his name 3 times, Beetlejuice.
Don't do it. No!
Beetlejuice. He comes alive and is brought back to destroy. He is evil incarnate. He is mischief. He is Loki. He is there to annihilate, to have fun doing it. He's the devil, basically. And he knows it, and he loves it, and he lives it. And this is the premise of the film Beetlejuice. Such a spectacularly perfect comedic macabre film. I don't know how else to say it. I mean, if you haven't seen it yet, shameful. Go do that.
You know who Tim Burton's original choice for Beetlejuice was?
No.
Sammy Davis Jr.
What?
Yes.
That is the oddest thing I've ever heard.
This one is floating around on HBO Max. It would be do a rewatch for me. I'm not a huge fan of Beetlejuice, but I definitely admire how unique it is. The look is very unique. This is probably Tim Burton's imagination to the max here. So if you're really into Tim Burton, and if you haven't seen this, or it's definitely due for a rewatch for probably a lot of people as it floats around on HBO Max. Make sure to give it a look.
Well,
Darren,
I was going to say, Darren, I find that to be a very strange and unusual take on the and I myself am very strange and unusual.
I love this movie, but I'm not going to rewatch it because, well, I'm going to rewatch it, but I'm going to see the Broadway musical of it next month. So I want to see that first and then come back and revisit this and see how it compares. It's probably not going to compare, but I want to go into kind of a fresh eye and not compare it, not sit there like, well, the movie did this. And so I'll go back and watch it after I see that.
I would think this probably made number one because I think Michael Keaton's most recognized character is probably Beetlejuice. Obviously, because Batman, there were so many people who've played that.
Right.
A Beetlejuice is Michael Keaton's part.
And other people have, like, this is the film that other people have tried to imitate with him. If you look at Tales from the Crypt Demon Knight and Billy Zane's performance, he's basically, in some parts, channeling Michael Keaton's Beetlejuice. It's just obvious to do that. So it's such a perfect film in every way as far as like performance wise for Michael Keaton. He just chews up that scenery. He loves it, and you can tell he's having a hell of a time. It's a great film.
Not for the critics though.
Yeah, and Billy Zane, of course,
was not great for the critics.
Really?
Good.
I would say probably the critics gave it a 72.
I would
be realistic.
I'm saying about a 55.
I say 71.
All right, guys, they're not that stupid. It was an 85.
Oh, okay.
I mean, that's
yeah, it's good. I was trying to.
Good. You really
did. Yes.
Anything 70.
Yeah, well, but if you look at the scores, it's not top 10 for him.
I was going to say 78, and then I changed it after your opinion there, Chris. So thank you for that.
You manipulated us, Chris.
Donald, I don't know if you've got the info up, but do you know who wrote the screenplay for Beetlejuice?
Did what?
I don't know if you have the info up, but do you know who wrote the screenplay for Beetlejuice?
Let me see here.
Because that is like...
I thought it was. Well, it's not Tim Burton. I thought it might have been Tim Burton. Doesn't say sequel. It says there could be a sequel coming, so there's that.
Michael McDowell.
Michael McDowell's the story. Larry Wilson's story. Warren Scarren actually is the screenplay credit.
Interesting.
And Michael McDowell, both of them.
Yeah, but also too, I wonder how much Tim Burton rewrote the script to tailor it to Tim Burton.
100%. Yeah.
Good question.
And let's not forget the awesome cartoon that it spawned.
Absolutely.
It's true. Very true.
The fun
on ABC, if I recall.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense. Like ABC Saturday morning cartoons. Yeah, that makes sense.
Where they once again ignored that he was evil and just made him the good guy.
Sure.
And they went on adventures.
Yep.
85. That's such a generous score. Wow, that's a good one. That's a very high score.
Yeah. Enrique and Janet both guessed 92%, so they were actually closer than us because we got tricked by Chris.
To be fair, when I was doing this, I guessed 70, so I was off too. So.
Well, shoot, guys, I think that's going to do it. That was our number one on the list, so that's the end of the evening. Thank you so much for tuning in and being part of this. We offer an audio podcast every week. Usually it's on Thursdays or Fridays. You can check us out on pretty much every platform where audio podcasts appear. Spotify, iHeartRadio, Spreaker, Blurberry, all of them, basically. We have new fun short box shorties coming soon. We're, anywhere from 8 to 20-minute shorts where we talk about particular topics. We have our gold standard interviews. We've got one coming up with none other than David Avallone, the writer and creator of Vincent Price Meets Elvira, or Elvira Meets Vincent Price.
Right.
And also Elvira in Movieland, I believe, is the upcoming sequel that the first issue just released a couple weeks ago. A phenomenal series, so I highly recommend you guys check that out when it lands, our interview. And we, of course, do all of these live podcasts pretty much every Monday at 7:30 p.m. Pacific time on YouTube Live. So please feel free to like and subscribe. We've got a lot of goodies coming up, a lot of fun interviews, a lot of fun shorties coming up. And thank you for being a part of this. And if we don't see you out and about anytime soon, perhaps we'll see you
at the smooth, elemental, extraordinary, and sometimes let's get nuts comic book.